Even after 2 home remodels, I still made some expensive mistakes. Mistakes that cost thousands of dollars, delayed timelines, and created unnecessary stress. And the frustrating part, most of them were completely avoidable. So today, I'm sharing the remodeling mistakes I made so you don't repeat them. If you're planning a renovation or remodeling your home in the near future, these lessons could save you a lot of money, time, and headache. So a quick background to share some context. My husband and I bought our home in 2022. It was dated and needed major renovation. So we decided to do a full gut renovation to the entire house. I want to be honest with you about what went wrong, because the home renovation content you see online is typically about the highlight reel. Nobody's filming themselves extremely stressed out, because I was stressed out multiple times. So I'll be sharing the 3 mistakes and what I would do differently. So let's get right in. So mistake 1, I took the lowest contractor quote. This is a classic. I know you've heard, don't take the lowest bid. I've heard it too, and I still did it. You know, when getting the quotes for our remodel, we got 4 bids. One of the quotes was, the highest, and one was the lowest in comparison to the other quotes. I thought, these guys all looked at the same house. It's the same job. Why would I go with the highest quote for the exact same result? Friends, it's never the same result. Here's what I didn't understand at that time. A low bid often means one of 3 things. 1, they are planning to cut corners on materials and hope you don't notice. And sometimes you actually don't notice until 2 years later and your tile starts to crack. 2, they are underquoting to win the job, and they'll hit you with change orders halfway through. I got 2 change orders totaling over $4,000 on a job I thought I had locked in writing. 3, they are genuinely less experienced, which often means slower, messier, and more issues to fix after the fact. So we ended up spending about $6,000 in correction after that contractor finished. Stuff that, a more experienced crew would have caught before it became an actual problem. What I'll do differently, I would get a minimum of 3 quotes. I would say preferably 5. And I wouldn't automatically take, the highest or the lowest. I would ask each contractor to walk me through why their number is what it is. So walk me through line by line. A contractor who can explain every line item is a contractor who actually knows what the job requires. I would also ask for 2 or 3 references. So specifically from jobs that has maybe similar scope to mine, and not just from any happy customer. And I would actually call those references. I know everyone says that, but almost no one does it. So please do it. Mistake 2, I didn't budget for the unexpected. See, every renovation article you read says add 10 to 20% contingency buffer. I read those articles. I even nodded along with them. But I made a budget with 0 buffer because I was convinced, we had planned for everything. We did not plan for everything. When we opened up the squeaky balcony floor during the remodel, and I actually want to be clear, our house isn't old, it's from the late 90s. What we found was extensive termite damage that had been silently doing its thing for who knows how long. So the remediation plus the structural repair was about 20,000, which was not in the budget. But here's the thing, that's not even the sneaker version of this problem. The sneaker version is what I call the small decisions that add up. So we made a mid-project choice, to add heated floors to the bathroom since the subfloors were exposed. And it would feel like something small in the moment, but $100 here, $250 there, and by the end of the project, we went way over the original budget. Not because of a big disaster, but because of the 17 small while we're at it decisions. What I'll do differently, a minimum of 20% contingency, not 10. If you're touching anything that's behind the walls or ceilings in an older home, let's say 15 to 20 years old, assume there's something hiding back there. And for the while we're at it trap, I would use a rule where any mid-project additions over $200 gets written down and reviewed at the end of the week, not approved in the moment when the contractor is looking and waiting for an answer. And this is because the emotional math of standing in a room that's gutted is different to the math that you will do when you're calm and at your kitchen table. Moving on to mistake 3. I underestimated the value of project management. This one is more of a systems mistake than a single decision. I treated my renovation like it was the contractor's project and I was just the person paying for it. I would, check in occasionally, answer text messages when they came, and trust that things were moving along correctly. Here's the problem. A renovation is your project and the contractor executes it. The decisions, the 10 small decisions that get made every day you're not present on site, those are the ones that actually shape the outcome. And if you're not engaged, those decisions are made without you, and it's basically whatever is easiest and faster for the contractor. So I came home one day to find a doorway had been framed differently than what was discussed. Not wrong, but not exactly what I'd envisioned. Changing it at that point would have cost time and money, and I just didn't change it. I just had to live with it. So there were 3 or 4 moments like that in each project where a daily check-in would have caught something early so it could have been fixed easily. What I'll do differently, I would do a brief daily walkthrough, say 10 to 15 minutes during the active construction. Not to necessarily micromanage, but to see, what happened that day and ask if there are any decisions coming up in the next 24 to 48 hours that might need my input. I would also have a weekly project status conversation with the general contractor, to find out what's done, what's next, are we on schedule, are there any potential issues coming up. Sort of treat it like a stand-up meeting because it keeps everyone aligned and gives everyone sort of like the warning signs early enough before problems become really expensive ones. All right, so let's recap all 3 mistakes. 1, don't just take the lowest contractor bid. Understand why the bid is what it is. 2, budget a real contingency. 20%, not 10%, especially if it's an older home. 3, stay engaged throughout. A 10 minutes daily walkthrough, helps you protect your investment even more than any contract clause. I made every single one of these mistakes, some of them more than once. Not because I wasn't trying, but because nobody had laid it out plainly before I'd started. And that's the whole point of this video. So thank you for watching. And if you found it helpful, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.